In this video, I'm going to expose the sometimes dark and murky world of recruiters and why it's incredibly important that if you're in an executive job search, you understand how this model works, because most people don't. My name is James Whittaker, and myself and my team here at the Ambitious Exec, we have a mission to help 100,000 directors, VPs, and C-suite executives transition into roles that give them the fulfillment, impact, and earning potential that they deserve. And so it's super important, if you're in that situation, that you understand how this recruiter model works, and more importantly, how you can make the recruiter model work for you. So let's dive into that right now. So the first thing that you need to understand is that recruiters don't work for you, right? Recruiters don't work for you. So if you ever heard anyone say, oh, I'm going to work with a recruiter, you might have said it yourself. I'm going to work with a recruiter. It's not possible to work with a recruiter. The hiring industry across the US is worth $200 billion a year, 200 billion with a B, billion dollars every single year. And this is important because the amount of that industry that is generated or is funded by candidates is zero. Candidates fund $0 of this giant hiring industry. It is instead all funded by the companies actually doing the hiring. So $200 billion funded by the companies doing the hiring. Now, you will have seen this in job boards, right? Companies pay to post jobs on job boards, right? Companies also pay recruiters to find them the best candidates. That means that recruiters are focused on helping the companies doing the hiring and not on candidates. This giant recruiting industry does not exist to help you find a job. What it exists to do is to help companies find candidates. There's a big, big difference here. So what does this mean for you specifically? Well, let's dive in further. So let's scroll across here. It's not a nice image. So this is how the recruitment model works. We have hiring companies up here, right? Hiring companies, they hire, right? They consult or they get recruiters to work for them, right? Typically on a commission basis, sometimes on a retained basis. That doesn't matter for the purposes of this video. And what they do is they issue what's called a job order. It's like any other order. The hiring company says, we need a new VP of marketing, and they need to have these specific skills, these specific experiences. Go out and find some candidates for me. And then down here, you have all the candidates out there in the world who might be relevant for that role. But what happens is the recruiter will go out, and their job, the whole reason the recruiters exist, is to narrow down the pool and find the perfect candidates for that company. So out of this giant pool, you have only the perfect candidates get through and actually are presented to the hiring company, right? Now, what does this mean for you? Well, if you're in the executive job search, it means that the only time an executive recruiter, a headhunter, a placement firm is actually going to be helpful to you is in the situation that they already have the perfect opportunity for you right there and then. They are hiring for that perfect opportunity. They have the job order that is relevant exactly to your skills, your experience, right? If it's not, they will not help you. Why not? Why would they? You don't pay them. Why would they go out of their way to do anything for you if they're not getting paid by you, right? They spend their time on the entity that is paying them, paying their bills, which is the hiring company. So all else being equal, what would they spend their time on? Getting more job orders or helping you find a job? Obviously getting more job orders. That's what they spend all their time on, right? And so this is the key thing that you have to remember, is if you are in conversation with one recruiter, it's really, really hard to get them to care about you or do anything to you. The only time they care about you is if you're a perfect match. And usually that's when a recruiter reaches out to you. Lots of people come to me and say, James, well, I've got jobs through recruiters in the past. Sure, that's because a recruiter needed somebody like you to present to the company. You fit that job order perfectly. Now, if you want control in the job search, which is what we do with our clients, you don't get that through working with one recruiter, because you can't work with one recruiter. You don't get that by just waiting around hoping that a recruiter is going to come to you, right? Now, the next challenge, the next problem that we have with recruiters is the fact that every recruiter out there only has access to a sliver of the jobs available. So let's say this represents the job pool for all of the kind of roles that you would be interested in, right? Well, any one recruiter right, or recruitment company, recruitment firm, is only going to have a handful of job orders relating to roles in this giant pool, right? So one job order from the thousands of available positions. One job order from the thousands of available positions. So what this means is even if you have a recruiter who's interested in you and they have a potential opportunity for you there and then, you're still in this absolutely narrow box. You're still limiting yourself so much because every individual recruiter only has access to the job orders that they have access to. They do not have access to all the opportunities in the marketplace. So again, you're limiting yourself significantly when doing this, when working with or being in contact with one recruiter. Now, what does this mean as well? Well, there's another dark and murky thing that happens when it comes to recruiters, and this is something that I learned through someone that I'm actually pretty close with, who used to work as a recruiter for a company. And what happens, right, is the job orders, as I mentioned, are the most important things. Most important things. That is how the whole recruitment industry works. They're all trying to get these job orders from companies to fill positions, right? How do they get them? How do they get these job orders? Well, one way, and one sneaky and, I think unethical way of doing this, is a recruiter will post fake job listings on job boards, right? Obviously, not all recruiters do this. Obviously, this is not something, recruiters are a helpful part of the process, and I'm going to tell you about that in a minute, right? But this happens, and this kind of thing and more happens in this industry, and that's why you need to be careful as a candidate, right? If you don't have guidance around how this all works. So what happens is they put these fake job postings out. Let's say for a VP of marketing again. They get these applications in, and then once they've got 100, 200, 3 applications, right? They then go to their clients, the company's hiring, and say, hey, is anyone looking for a VP of marketing? Because we have all these great candidates that have just come into our organization. That's what they do. They reverse it, right? Problem is for you, that job posting is fake. That job posting is fake. And what that means is that if that company doesn't get that job order from those fake postings, right, what happens then? There's no real job. And even if they do get a role, it might not be precisely related to that job order, to the fake postings that they've put out. The job order might not relate to the fake postings, right? And so you as a candidate, if you're online applying for these fake jobs, you're literally just wasting your time. You may as well just be banging your head against the wall, right? And this is the kind of thing that happens, and you need to understand this, and you need to understand how to utilize this process, how the recruiters work in the most effective way for you as an executive job search candidate. Right. So what do we do about this? What's the answer? What's the thing that we do with our clients here at the Ambitious Exec as part of when we license and help install the reverse job search method into our clients' job search? Well, this is what we do, right? We've got the jobs at the top, and then each one of these these buildings represents a recruitment company, right? As in the past diagram, and that's you down at the bottom. Now, what you could do is you could wait for a recruiter to come and find you. Or what you could do is go out and find a recruiter, right? Maybe Google them and see what you can find and then hope for the best, right? Knowing that only each one of these recruiters only has access to one or a small handful of the jobs that are actually available in that marketplace, that pool of all available opportunities. Or what you could do, and this is where the magic happens, is get your profile and get in contact with all of them. Every single recruiter that is relevant to you in your industry, in your vertical, right? In your marketplace, in your location, all of those different factors. Get in contact with all of them. That's how you do it. Because what happens then is once you're in contact with all of them and you do it in the most efficient and most effective way, because obviously you can't go along and say, hey, can you help me get a job? There's a very specific way of getting in contact with the recruiters to actually inspire them to want to actually take you seriously, right? Get in contact with all of them, because the difference when you get in contact with one or two, or wait around for a recruiter to get in contact with you, that's a very narrow pool, and you have to be in that exact right place at the right time. When you expand that list to 100, right, things look a lot different. What are the chances that one recruiter is going to have the exact role available for you right there and then? Pretty low. What's the chances out of 100 that one or two or three or five of them are going to have the exact role available for you right there and then? Pretty high. So this is what you need to do. Not one, not two, but every single relevant recruiter that you can find in your industry, location, vertical, etc., you need to be getting in front of them and getting in contact with them. Now, I understand that's a pretty hard task. And that's why going it alone in the job search, in the executive job search, is a hard thing to do, right? It's why the typical executive job search takes 6 to 12 months to get any kind of success, to get one offer, right? One offer in 6 to 12 months, that's the typical. And that's why here at the Ambitious Exec, we help our clients license, or we license to them, and then we help them install the reverse job search method into their search. And just one small part of that is doing this, is getting in contact with all these recruiters. And I've just explained why this is so important, right? You can't work with a recruiter. It's impossible, right? If you've got hired by a recruiter in the past, that was luck. If you want to leave your future job search to luck, then you're not going to have the career that you want. These days, it's not good enough just to be great at your job. You need to be great at your job and great at finding the next opportunity as well. That's how great careers are made, right? So if you're interested in finding out how we can do this with you, look below this video and you can download some more information. I recently wrote an 18-page white paper that you can get access to, and you can see exactly how this is all going to work, how the reverse job search method works. There's a couple of other links down there as well. But whether you work with us or whether you implement this or not, well, I truly hope you do implement this, right? Because this process alone is going to increase your success rates massively, but you need to put the time in and put the effort in to actually get in front of all these people, right? We help our clients do it. We have a database of more than 1,000, a curated database of more than 1,000 of the top executive recruiters that our clients get access to, and we show them exactly how they can go ahead and get in contact with as many of them as possible so they increase their odds massively, right? But if you're going to do this on your own, I wish you the best of luck.